What's going on, Beamer fans? Welcome back to Beamer Review. Today we're going to be doing a full breakdown of the BMW i4. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, Beamer Review, what we do here is teach you everything there is to know about BMWs. We also do some really cool hidden tips, tricks, and features reviews. So if that's something that you want to learn about, subscribe to this channel because we put out content every single week. Also, if you are looking for some pretty cool accessories that you are trying to get for your BMW i4 key fob, we found these really cool style key fob covers on Amazon, so definitely check these out at the end of the video. The link for these are going to be right down below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for this video, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing a full breakdown of the BMW i4. So this is going to be a great video for you to stay in tune with, especially if you're waiting for your BMW i4 on order, so that whenever you do get your BMW i4, you're going to be already set to go. Again, doing a full breakdown. We're going to do an exterior walk. We're going to jump back inside. We're going to check out the trunk, check out the different types of chargers we have, and going through almost every single button within the car as well. So definitely stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started. So for this portion of the video, we did do a voiceover because it was super windy out and we did want to make sure we delivered the information the best way possible. So we did go ahead and do it this way. So for the first off and foremost, we're going to walk around the outside of the vehicle. Now, some pretty cool things to mention about the outside of the BMW i4 is that there are sensors front and back. There are 4 of the small sensors that are in the front, and there's also 4 small sensors in the back as well. And that is a standard feature that does come with all BMWs, so you can be rest assured that you won't be hitting anything anytime soon. But yes, nothing too crazy about the front aside from the sensors. One thing to mention though about the rims here, for any electric vehicle, depending on which rim size you do go with, it will affect the range. So keep that in mind. The bigger you go on your diameter for your wheel, you are going to lose a little bit of range. It's nothing too drastic unless you go with the really big rims, because then you could lose up to 50 miles of range. So keep that in mind. On the door handle, there are a set of sensors right over here. You can see that these 3 lines represent the door sensors. You can press on that or tap on it to lock the vehicle. Moving right along to the trunk. Again, this is a Grand Coupe design, so we are going to see inside the trunk here a ton amount of space. Again, on the back, there are 4 sensors here. You can see those small little dots or small circles that are located within the bumper. There's another cutout there in the bumper as well. That is just where your tow hook is going to go in case you had to tow your vehicle. Hopefully you don't have to though. There is a handle right beneath here, beneath the logo, so you can press on that to open the trunk. Again, we do have a privacy shade here. This you can fully remove. There is a latch or a hook in the front that you would just twist off, and then you can simply just pull out the other 2 sides. Moving right along, we do see another privacy shade here. This you can also remove if you needed to for that additional space. Again, the back seats here, they can fold down completely flat. So you can expect that, again, as mentioned before, you can expect to get a ton of space around here. This vehicle did come with all-season mats from the factory. This isn't something that comes standard. You do have to get it this way from the factory, so keep that in mind. And also right down here, we do have additional space. Now, one major thing to mention is that there is going to be no spare tire, nor do you have run-flat tires. So keep that in mind. Now, BMW simply just relies on you calling your roadside assistance in order to have everything taken care of. And that is done by pressing the SOS button that we'll see later. Inside here, every BMW EV vehicle is going to come with a flexible fast charger. Inside here, you're going to see an adapter for level 1. You're going to see an adapter for level 2, which is going to be your primary one that you'll be using all the time. And the actual base here as well. Up here, there are 2 buttons to close the trunk. You can press on the left one to simply just close it. The one on the right, if you were to press that one, you can lock the vehicle as well. You can just tap on this little door here, and then if the vehicle is unlocked, this will also unlock. But here you can see that there is the AC outlet or plug-in, and right beneath that, there is also the DC plug-in for your level 3 or DC fast charger. Your first 2 levels of charging are simply just going to plug into the first one. And again, if you do get the level 3 charger at your near shopping mall or wherever, you can expect to find a level 3 charger, which here you would use the DC fast charger as well. If you want to know more info about the charging, we do have a video right up here. Make sure you check this out at the end of this one. It's very convenient. You're going to learn everything there is to know about charging your BMW. And then moving right into here in the back seats, there are a few things to mention. First off and foremost, there is a center armrest that can pop out, and inside here you can see some cup holders. The first time around, it is kind of hard to open it, but after a couple tries, your cup holders are going to pop out as well. And if we look right up here, there is a small handle located beneath the headrest, and you can pull on that in order to take out your center seat. And right up here is where you're going to press the completely fold up the rear seat. And down here, there are latches for your baby seat. If you had one, you can plug that into there. And right in the center section here, we do have our USB-C chargers and also our rear climate control. Also, right up here, if you do get roof racks for your vehicle, there is a small cutout that you can pull out, and then you can actually plug in your roof racks right into there as well. Next up, we do have our side mirror. While we're outside, there is a blind spot sensor in both of the side mirrors. You can see this little triangle that's kind of hard to see, but we'll touch back on that in just a little bit. But every BMW does come standard with blind spot, so it is very, very convenient. Now let's actually jump into the vehicle and get to the fun stuff. All right, so now we are back inside the BMW i4, and we're gonna be going through everything from left to right, top to bottom. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we get to the buttons, one of the first things that you must do, even before you get into your BMW, or even before you receive it, you definitely must set up the My BMW app. And during the setup process of this, you're gonna also be scanning a QR code, and then you also wanna set up your BMW ID. So two things you must set up: your BMW app, your My BMW app, and secondly, you want to set up your BMW ID, which is going to be this little guy right over there. The reason why it's super important to do this is because tons of features and even software updates are all done through the app. And if you want to take full advantage of all the features that your BMW offers, these two things you definitely must set up no matter what. But yes, as you're setting up the app is going to tell you to go into this BMW ID section right here. And then once you go into that, you want to go into where it says login via My BMW app. And then you're going to see a QR code pop up right up there. And that's what you're going to press to basically create your BMW ID. And then after that, just follow through the steps. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but just make sure you do those two things as soon as you get into your car. After those two things are done, the next thing you can do is also go ahead and set up your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or Bluetooth, and that is going to be done through this next box right over here where it says mobile devices. So once you go into mobile devices, just go through connect new device and just follow through the steps. Jumping back to the buttons. Now going from left to right, as mentioned before, let's go ahead and get started. We do have our lock and unlock right over here. Right down here, we do have a bunch of different things going on. So we, of course, do have our seating assignment. Whenever you make adjustments to your seat, to your side mirrors, you always want to hit set and then 1 or set and then 2, depending on whichever one you're using. The reason why you must do that is so that it saves every minor adjustment you make, so that whenever you do hit the number 1, then things will go exactly the way you want them to. Going from bottom to the top, right over here, we have our child lock for the windows. We have all 4 windows here. They are all automatic as well. And if we keep going up forward, this little switch right there is going to be to fold in the side mirror. So let me demonstrate that. If I press on this, you're going to see the side mirrors fold in on both sides. So that's what that does. There is also a setting within the car that you can go into to have it do this all by itself. Whenever you lock the car, you can lock the car and then the side mirrors can fold in as well. You do have to go into the door setting in order to enable that. Moving forward, we do have our selector switch for the side mirror that we want to adjust. So this is left or right, depending on whichever one you want to adjust. And then once you have it selected, just use this circular switch right here to control however you want your side mirror to be faced. We do have a trunk button right down here. Now, one of the biggest things to mention about this is that yes, you push down to open the trunk, but if you want to close the trunk, the way that you would do that is you'd have to hold that up the whole time until the trunk is fully closed. So yes, there's 2 ways to use that. Definitely keep that in mind. Right down there near my foot, we do have our latch for the hood. The way that you would use this is you have to pull back on the switch 2 times. 1, 2. And then that will fully unlock the hood, and then you could literally just go to the front of the hood and then just open the hood, and then you're all set. Next up, we have our lighting controls. Now, there used to be a little cubby here, but they did get rid of that. But right over here, we do have our lighting controls. For the most part, you just want to leave it on auto. Just make sure that green light is on. Set it and forget it. You're all set. The headlights will come on at nighttime all by themselves, and you never have to worry about it. But if you did want to turn off your headlights, you could turn it off right here, or you could keep your headlights on no matter what right here. These 3 buttons down here are just going to be your parking lights. Most of the time here in the US, we're not using that too much. We have our dimmer switch right here. At nighttime, you can use this to dim the screens. The 2 screens right there and right there. That's what that's used for. If you're wondering where the automatic high beam button is, that is going to be located right over here. So you're going to see 2 buttons on the turn signal stock right here. BC stands for board computer. So we'll come back to this one, but the bottom one right down here, that is going to be your automatic high beams. If you try to do it during the day, it's not going to do anything. But At nighttime, just go ahead and hit that switch. You're gonna see another green light pop up right here on the screen, and that's how you know that the feature is gonna be on. Super useful. Make sure you're taking full advantage of that. Going back to the BC button, if I were to press BC, it's gonna bring up our trip computer screen right over here. Now, this middle portion of the screen we can adjust. We'll go through that too. If you were to hit the BC button, it will always bring you back to the screen that we're looking at right here. And yes, of course, we do have our turn signal stick right here. Many BMW drivers don't know what this is, but that's okay. So for this guy, you can hold it down and then it will keep your turn signal on the whole time, or just do a soft press and then it'll just blink 3 times. Very useful. Everything on the left side of the steering wheel is all going to pertain to cruise control. This is the on and off switch for cruise control. This is to set the speed. This is to adjust the speed up and down. Quick little tidbit, if you push hard, you can adjust your mile per hour by increments of 5s. We have resume cruise control here and cancel cruise control here. LIM stands for limit. Now, what this is going to be used for is to limit your speed. If I push this and then use this adjuster right here, I can set the limit to be, say, for example, 80 miles per hour, and then the vehicle will prevent me from going past that. It's great to use if you find yourself speeding a lot. You can also overpower it if you jam on the gas or accelerator. So that is cruise control settings. Right down here, we have our heated steering wheel. Super useful for those winter months. You can turn on your heated steering wheel. It stays on the whole time. And then if I press it, you can see the notification pop up right over here. Everything on the right side, we have our multimedia controls here. Plus and minus is going to be pertaining to the volume. Our 2 arrows left and right here are to switch stations or change tracks. A scrolling knob here will bring up another menu that you see here. This is going to be used to adjust whatever tracks you're playing. We have our phone button here, which is going to be used to only pick up a phone call. You can also use it to hang up a phone call. And if I push it one time, you're going to see your recent calls pop up here too. Right now, it's not going to show it because my phone is not connected. But again, if I push it one time, you're going to see your recent calls pop up here. Next up, we have a menu button. If I push on this, you're going to see a menu pop up right over there where it says content and layout. This one's really cool. So again, I push this guy right here, and then we're going to see content and layout right here. Again, as mentioned before, you can change your different content on this portion of the screen here. So right now it's set to the standard, which just shows your mile per hour. If I use the scrolling knob right here to go down one more time, you're gonna see your trip computer, your total miles, and again, your trip computer right there. Scrolling down one more time, you're gonna see your direction or compass. Now this screen will change depending on if you're using the BMW navigation or not. If you are using the BMW navigation, you're gonna see some pretty cool route previews here pop up as well. Going down to the next one, we have our map. This is also gonna be a map that shows right here. Next up, we have a G-force meter. Many may not be using this too much. Many will also be wondering what this is. Well, it's going to be more of a sport-like meter. You can measure your G-forces, how fast you're going, and all that. And the last one is probably going to be the best one, and that is going to be multimedia. So you can see whatever radio, so you can see whatever's playing here through your stereo. You can see your music, and then you can see the song title as well, which is very useful. I personally like this one the best. And if I push on this one more time, you saw another menu item right here called layout. I use these 2 arrows right here to switch between these 2 boxes right there. So I'm gonna go to layout, and I'm gonna go to the top one, again, scrolling up, and then we can see a nice sport-like layout. This is gonna be really cool for those sport enthusiasts right down below. The next layout is gonna be the one that we were just on, which is our standard view. And right below that, the last one is going to be a nice simple view. And if you were wondering on the actual items that are on the instrument cluster as well, of course, we have our mile per hour here. On the bottom left, we have our actual charge. We have our time. Seatbelt settings. This mile per hour will adjust according to wherever you're traveling. We have our outside temperature. Right down there, we have how many miles the vehicle can travel until the next charge. This will adjust according to your driving style. It also takes into account the temperature and all that as well. So expect that to change a little bit. Of course, right here, we have our percentage of the power that is being used. It goes all the way from 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, up to 100%. So that's how much energy you are using within the vehicle. These arrows right down here represent brake regeneration. If you're braking, you're gonna see an arrow that goes into that, letting you know that it's using the brakes to regenerate itself. Super powerful. Going back up here, we do have our voice command. Now, a voice command is very powerful in the new BMWs because, again, there's 2 ways to use this. If I push it one time, we get our BMW voice command, which can do some pretty cool things now, such as lower down the window. You can tell it to change the lighting within the vehicle. The most use that I see myself using that is to adjust the temperature. You could say set temperature to 75 degrees and then it'll do it. You can also even say, hey BMW, I'm cold, and then it'll do it as well. And then the other way to use it is if I hold it down. Now if I hold it down, and again if my phone was connected to Apple CarPlay, you're going to see Siri pop up on the screen right over here too. Now the biggest differences between the two is that again the BMW one controls the car, but Siri or Google Assistant, if you have Android Auto, will control your phone. So Siri or Google Assistant is what you're going to have to use to make phone calls. You can't use the BMW one to do so because your contacts are going to be loaded onto Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So definitely use Siri or Google Assistant. Again, just to repeat myself, 2 ways to use it. Press once for BMW, hold it to get Siri or Google Assistant. And then we have our wiper stock right here. Now, right now it is in its off position, but if I do one notch up, you can see that the green light turned on for auto, and now the vehicle is in auto mode. Of course, we do have our speed right here, or sensitivity, whatever you want to call it. And then if I go up one more time, it goes into high. And then again, this is the off position. If I go down, one click will just do a one swipe as well. That covers many of the basics on this side of the BMW. We're going to shift over to this side now. So this new display that BMW is coming out with, along with all the new BMWs, the new system they have here is called iDrive 8, which is all brand new. Again, if you have the curved display, you're going to have iDrive 8 and vice versa. It does take some time getting used to. We do have videos on this all by itself to help you learn a whole lot more. But once you get the hang of it, it's very, very simple to use. Again, voice command will do tons and tons of control here. You can also tell it to go into a specific setting and then it'll do it too. But yes, iDrive 8, we have our widgets here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also swipe over to see a whole bunch more. If you want to rearrange these, you can. Just click and hold it, and then you can rearrange these widgets however you like. You can also add or remove them. Feel free to play around with that and customize it however you like. This row of icons here, you're going to see a 5th one here pop up for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto whenever you have that connected. But again, the top one is just going to be your main menu, which has all the different settings that you can go through. Again, for our video, we actually deep dive into this whole iDrive 8 system, and we go through all the different types of ways that you should charge your vehicle and whatnot. So definitely check out this video here. Also, this musical note here will simply just bring you into the music. Right now, it is only showing Sirius, which does come free for a year with this vehicle. We have our FM radio here as well. They did get rid of AM radio. We're not seeing that on all the newer cars, so that is going to be something that is getting extinct. And of course, if you were to set up presets, you're going to see a presets menu here, and you're also going to see your Apple CarPlay media here as well. One thing to mention before I forget, this little white line here, if I drag it down, you're going to see another menu pop up here. So this one's very, very convenient, so make sure you stay tuned with this. But before, BMW used to have some numerical buttons that you could program right down here. They did get rid of that. Now they got this new thing to replace it. It's called shortcuts. So right now there's 4. You can have up to 8 if you like. But basically, say for example, if there was a specific radio station or setting you wanted to get into quickly, all you have to do is click and hold, and then you're going to see the option to add that to a shortcut. And then if I do that, you're going to see now that the FM radio icon is up here now. You can do that for almost every little thing within the car. Even if you're connected to Apple CarPlay, you can have it set up so that it goes directly into Google Maps or even Waze. So definitely take advantage of that shortcuts menu. It's going to be very, very convenient. We have our phone button here. It simply just goes into our phone. You're going to see your different types of phones that are connected. This is also where you would go to connect your new phone. And lastly, right down here, we have our BMW Maps. Now, if I go into BMW Maps, it does work pretty well, I'm not going to lie. One of the biggest benefits is if you do have a head-up display, or if you are using the BMW Maps, it is very, very intuitive with this screen here. You can see this whole map pop up right there. You can also take advantage of the route previews content menu that we saw before. So it does have some advantages. It's also great for the electric vehicles because the navigation for BMW is very intuitive with electric vehicles. So say for example, if you were traveling on a route where the car knew that it would not have enough range, it will actually redirect you or give you an option on where to make the next stop to charge your vehicle. That is one thing. Another cool feature that these vehicles have is that if you tell your navigation that you're going to go to charge your vehicle, it will actually precondition the battery as you're going there. Now, what preconditioning the battery means is that it will just bring it up to the correct temperature. If it's too hot, it'll cool it down vice versa, so that whenever you connect your vehicle to get a charge, it will just do it seamlessly and super quick. If you don't do it that way, then there might be a slight 5-minute delay whenever you do plug in your vehicle, because the vehicle does have to precondition the battery first before it takes the charge. So keep that in mind. The BMW navigation is really convenient for electric vehicles. I would highly recommend it. You'll be glad that you used it. Now, a big change is going to be the climate menu that we have here. So climate menu, we did do a separate video on this, so feel free to check this out for more information. But yes, climate control buttons, the only physical buttons we have are going to be the 2 defrosters here and here. But the rest of it is all going to be in here now. Things like your heated seats, your fan speed, how you want the air to flow, it's all going to be located here now. The best way to use this is to make sure you just have it left in auto. And then all you have to do is just control the temperature here and here. And then the rest, the car will just take care of it. That is how I would be using it. The other benefit of leaving it in auto is that your temperature controls here and here are going to be located at the bottom of the screen at all times. So then you would just have to adjust your temperature whenever you need to, and then the car will just take care of the rest. So definitely do it that way. Going back down, we have our vents. You can roll on these. You can scroll on these to open and close the vents. You can also move this up, down, left, and right as well. And then right down here, we have a couple of things going on. So we have our track skipping here and here. You can go forward. You can go forward or backward. We have our volume knob here. You can rotate this. You can also push on it as well. Super hidden trick that you should know about this guy is that if you hold it down for about 30 seconds and then let go whenever the screen goes black, you can actually refresh the whole iDrive system. It's kind of like doing a reboot. It's very, very useful if you're having a hard time trying to connect to your iPhone or Android. We used to use this tip all the time, so definitely make sure that you use this too if your screen was ever frozen, or if you're simply just having a hard time trying to connect to your phone. This little guy right here, just the cabin temperature sensor. You don't have to worry about that too much. Moving right down here. Now we do have a tray here. A lot of people would think that this is a wireless charger. It is actually not. BMW uses a really similar cutout for the vehicles that do have a wireless charger. The way that you can confirm whether or not it had a wireless charger or not is that you see a small cutout here which presents a blue light whenever the phone is being charged. You can see that is not there. And then also inside here within this phone picture, you would also see a battery cell located right there too, which we also don't see as well. So that's how I can tell that this vehicle does not have the wireless charger. The reason why you may still be seeing this, however, is that NFC is still built into the tray, meaning you can still use your phone to start the vehicle if it has the digital key feature, which you can set up in the My BMW app. Again, if you don't know what that is, you can use your phone as a key to lock and unlock your vehicle, and then you can place your phone here to start your car, all without your real keys. USB-A port, there is a USB-C port inside here, which is located right over there. Cup holders, we have our socket right here. If you had a radar detector or a USB adapter you needed, you can use that for that. Next up, we have our center console. Now, there's a few different things going on here. BMW did change the design of their shifter here. Now it is more of a lever. It does take a little bit of time to getting used to, but I am starting to like it more and more. But yes, the way that we would use that, so foot on the brake, you have to keep your foot on the brake, and then if you go up, you're going to be in reverse. If you want to go into neutral, just do a soft push, and then that brings you into neutral. And then if you want to go into drive, do a hard push down, and then you're in drive. You're going to see this B here too. The way you get into B mode is you push down one more time, and then now you're in B mode. If you're wondering what B mode is, it's simply one pedal mode, which kind of works just like the Teslas. You can now brake and accelerate with just the use of your accelerator right there. This is also great for the battery as well. And of course, if you want to park your vehicle, you can hit park here, and then it will go to park. Our traction control button is going to be this little guy right here. Now, if I push on this, it turns traction control off. If I push on that, you're going to see this screen here. And then here you can turn off your traction control. The only reason that I could think of on when you would be using this is only if you're stuck in snow. And then moving right down here, we do have our parking assistance button. Now, if I push on this, you're going to see your parking sensors come up right over here. If your vehicle does have parking assistance plus, which has the whole 3D view, if you push on that button, you're going to see your full 3D view pop up here as well. This i4 that we're in right now is quite the basic model, so we're just going to have our parking sensors here. The only reason probably why you're going to be using this is, say for example, if you're going through a car wash, you're going to see that the brushes are going to be touching all over the sensors, which is going to make the sensors go crazy. The way that you can deactivate that is simply just by pushing on this one time, and that for the time being will just turn off the sensors and keep you from going insane. Our start stop button is right here. Quick little note, yes, you can press this to turn off the vehicle. If you want to fully turn off your vehicle, you have to go outside your car and then lock it. But say for example, you wanted to turn off the screens, you can also do that through here too. Say for example, you turn off the car, and then you're going to notice that the screens are still on. You can also turn off the screens if you press and hold this down for about 3 seconds as well. Different drive modes, these are super cool. BMW has been doing this for a long time now. Sport Plus makes the car much more responsive, much more tighter, and much more fun. Great to use if you're running late for work. Comfort, the vehicle is always going to start in comfort mode. It is going to be the standard mode you're probably going to be in the most of the time. Lastly, we have Eco Pro, which does do a good job of maintaining as much as charge as possible. Auto H stands for auto hold. This is BMW's version of a brake holder. If you have that on, you're going to see a green light on right there. You're also going to see Auto H located right there as well. What Auto H does is, say for example, if you have the feature on, now whenever you come to a stop, you can take your foot off the brake and then the vehicle will still hold the brake for you. That is what that is used for. It's great for stop and go traffic. It's great for going through the drive-thrus. We have our emergency brake right here. Pull up to engage it. You're going to see a red light pop up right there. You're also going to see park located right there as well. And then you can push down to disengage the emergency brake as well. This is great to use if you're parked on a steep hill or for whatever reason you needed to use the emergency brake. You can also use this while you're driving, but only in emergencies. The vehicle does have a secret feature where if you hold this up, it can come to a nice complete stop. If for whatever reason you couldn't brake the car, you can also do it through here too, but only for emergencies. And over here for our controller, BMW has been doing this controller design for a long time. It is very easy to use, and I personally love it. So we have our main shortcuts right here. Media just goes into media, home, map, navigation. If you wanted to use the BMW maps to put in a navigation, this goes to your phone settings. So these are just shortcuts that will pretty much represent the icons that we see here. Of course, this circular dial controls the whole screen, which is very useful whenever you're driving. So then you don't have to physically touch your screen. The way that you can use this is if you rotate it, you can go up and down the screen. You can also push down on it to go to the next screen. And the other thing to mention is that you can tilt this too. So what I mean by that is if I push it to the left, I can actually tilt this to go to this next section of the screen here. So say for example, now if I rotate, it will stay on this section. But again, if I wanted to come back to this middle section here, just tilt to the right, and that's how you can jump your sections here. There is a back button here, which is very useful if you want to go back a screen. There is option here too, which you probably won't use too much. And then moving our way to the top, we do have our controls here for the garage door opener. There are a few different ways to set this up. There is a video that we did on how to set this up as well, but the way that you would do it, your step one is going to be to clear out the whole thing, which is going to be holding 1 and 3 together. You're going to see that orange light start to blink green after about 15 seconds. And that simply will just clear out the whole thing. And then your next step, which is what you really want to do to program the garage door, you want to grab your garage door remote and you want to hold down whichever one of these at the same time. Hold your garage door remote with your other hand and then use this hand to pair the two devices together. And then lastly, we have our ceiling controls here. Now we have our SOS. If you get a brand new BMW, you have SOS or roadside assistance for 4 years, so keep that in mind. And then this is a 2-step process, so push it once, and then you can see the actual button that you'd want to push if you ever needed emergency help. Also, we have our lighting controls here. There are 3 switches here. This is going to be for the reading light for the left side. This is going to be reading light for the right side. And then if you want to turn on all the lights in the vehicle, that's what you would push right here in the middle. And then lastly is going to be this slider switch we have right here for the sunroof. So if you wanted to open up the shade, just push back on this one time, and then that will open up the shade. And then again, if you want to do the glass, you just slide this back one more time, and then you can see that the glass just opened as well. And if you want to close all those sections, just push on this forward, and then that will close the glass. Also, if you wanted to do a tilt for the sunroof, the way that you would do that is you would push this middle part here. You want to go from the bottom to the top, and then you can see that that is a tilt there. Push it up one more time and that will close the tilt, and then of course slide it forward one more time and that can close the shade. That is going to be our quick overview of the BMW i4. If you had any questions, write them down below. I do get back to every single comment, so definitely don't be shy, ask away and drop them down below. Also, don't forget the really cool BMW key fob cover. The link for that is going to be right down below, so definitely make sure you check that out. They are selling like crazy, so you might want to just purchase it as well. Again, I hope you guys have a great day. Subscribe to this channel, make sure you like the video, and stay tuned for the next one.